The healer moves quietly inside the cabin as the night settles deeper into the forest. The fire burns low and steady, its warm light resting gently against the wooden walls. Shelves filled with jars and bundles of dried herbs stand in patient silence, shaped by many similar nights. Nothing here feels hurried or unfinished. This is a place formed by repetition and care, where time slows naturally and every small action waits calmly for the moment it begins. She pauses near the hearth, not listening for sound, but for stillness itself. Outside, the forest has grown quiet, as if the trees have chosen rest together. Snow gathers softly across the ground, dulling distance and movement. Inside the cabin, warmth remains constant, held by thick wooden walls that have learned over time how to protect the night from interruption or urgency. A simple vessel rests on the wooden table, empty and waiting. The healer lifts it with practiced ease, her movements guided by memory rather than thought. She places it close to the fire, allowing warmth to rise slowly through the metal. Steam begins to form, faint at first, then steady, lifting gently before fading into the dim air above, leaving no trace behind. She turns toward the shelves without haste, scanning their contents as one might scan familiar faces. Each jar holds remnants of another season, another quiet evening, much like this one. Her fingers hover briefly before settling on a small bundle of dried leaves. She brings them closer, inhaling their soft, earthy scent, greeting them as something known rather than newly chosen. The leaves are added carefully to the warming water, sinking slowly without resistance. Their color begins to release at its own pace, darkening the surface just slightly. The healer watches without expectation, knowing the brew does not respond to impatience. It will unfold in its own time, just as the night reveals its depth only to those willing to remain still. The fire shifts softly as a log settles into place, releasing a brief glow before returning to stillness. The healer does not look up. This sound belongs to the cabin, as familiar as the slow rhythm of breathing in sleep. Light moves gently across the floor and walls, then rests again. Nothing demands attention. The night accepts the small change and continues without interruption, steady and untroubled. Outside the cabin, snow continues to fall in slow, deliberate layers. Each flake drifts downward without urgency, softening the forest floor and quieting every distant edge. Branches hold still beneath the growing weight, accepting it without resistance. The world beyond the walls grows smaller and quieter, while the cabin remains unchanged, a warm and certain presence within the deep winter night. The healer lifts a wooden spoon and stirs the warming water once, then lets it rest. She does not watch the movement fade. Some actions complete themselves without observation. The spoon is placed back on the table, its surface still warm from the fire. The vessel is left undisturbed, trusted to continue its quiet transformation without guidance or correction. Her hands return to the shelves, selecting a small root worn smooth by time. She breaks it carefully, listening to the soft sound as it separates. The pieces are placed gently into the vessel, slipping beneath the surface without effort. The brew accepts them quietly, darkening just slightly as scent and warmth deepen together in slow, measured balance. The air inside the cabin grows heavier with an earthy warmth, rich but never sharp. It lingers close, respectful of the stillness. The healer remains nearby, her presence calm and unobtrusive, allowing the ritual to unfold without interference. Nothing is rushed, nothing is delayed. The night continues to hold the moment, patient and complete as it is. A small window reflects the low firelight, offering only darkness beyond the glass. The forest does not press against the cabin or seek entry. It waits. Snow drifts past slowly, erasing depth and distance as it falls. Inside, the light remains warm and contained, held close by the wooden walls. The separation feels complete and gentle, as if the world itself has agreed to pause at the threshold. The healer adjusts the vessel slightly, moving it farther from the flame. The water continues to hold warmth, but more softly now, no longer eager to change. Steam thins and fades into the air, leaving behind a quiet balance. The brew settles into itself, neither cooling nor growing stronger, content to remain in this slow, even state for as long as the night allows. She tidies the table with unhurried movements, returning unused herbs to their jars. Each container is set back into place with care, aligned by memory rather than rule. Order here is gentle, shaped by repetition and familiarity. Nothing is measured precisely. Everything simply returns to where it belongs, as it has on many nights before. The firelight dims as the logs sink lower, their edges glowing softly before settling into quiet embers. Shadows stretch across the walls, lengthening without sharpness or weight. Darkness in the cabin feels calm and protective, resting gently in corners and along beams. Nothing hides within it. The dimness feels intentional, like a signal that the night is deepening. The healer stands beside the table, observing the vessel as it rests. There is no final gesture to mark completion, no moment that separates before from after. The ritual is not meant to end suddenly. It continues in silence, carried forward by warmth, time, and patience. The night receives it without comment, allowing everything to remain exactly as it is. She moves toward the shelves once more, not to choose, but to confirm what has already been done. Her fingers rest briefly against the glass of a jar, feeling its cool surface before letting go. Some nights require no additions, only attention. The cabin remains still around her, accepting the pause. Outside, snow continues to fall, untroubled, as if time itself has softened. The forest beyond the cabin feels distant now, its presence reduced to quiet weight and shadow. Snow settles into the spaces between roots and stones, smoothing the ground without sound. Nothing stirs. Inside, the fire maintains its low glow, offering warmth without demand. The balance between inside and outside holds steady, neither side pressing against the other. The healer returns to the table and lowers herself into stillness nearby. She does not watch the brew closely. It no longer requires her gaze. The warmth remains, steady and contained. Steam has faded completely, leaving the surface calm and dark. The vessel sits as if it has always been there, part of the room rather than an object waiting for use. A soft sound comes from the fire as an ember shifts, then settles again. The healer breathes evenly, her presence blending into the quiet of the cabin. Nothing responds to her breath, and nothing needs to. The ritual continues without movement, held together by patience rather than action. Outside, snow continues its slow descent, unchanged. The light within the cabin grows softer as the night deepens. Shadows no longer move across the walls, resting where they have fallen. The room feels complete, as if no further adjustment could improve it. The healer remains still, allowing the moment to remain unaltered. Everything has arrived where it needs to be, without instruction or effort. The healer rises slowly and crosses the room, her steps barely touching the wooden floor. She opens a small container near the window, releasing a faint scent that blends quietly with the warmth of the fire. Nothing sharp or sudden follows. The aroma settles into the air, softening the space further. The cabin receives it without change, as if it were already expected. The healer returns to the table and lifts the vessel carefully. She does not drink from it or seal it away. She simply acknowledges its presence, then sets it back where it rests. Some preparations are meant only to exist, not to be used immediately. The brew remains warm, patient, and complete, content to remain undisturbed. The fire burns lower now, its glow reduced to a quiet pulse. Light gathers close to the hearth, leaving the far corners of the cabin in calm shadow. Nothing feels unfinished. The room has settled into its final shape for the night. The healer remains nearby, allowing the space to hold itself without guidance. Time moves gently here, no longer marked by action or sound. The ritual has dissolved into stillness, its purpose fulfilled without announcement. The healer breathes slowly, her presence blending fully into the cabin. Outside, snow continues to fall. Inside, warmth remains. Nothing more is required, and nothing more will be added. The healer moves once more toward the hearth, adjusting a piece of wood so the fire may continue its slow work through the night. She does not add fuel, only balance. The flame responds quietly, settling into a smaller, steadier glow. Light gathers close, contained and patient. The cabin accepts the change without shifting, as if it has known this rhythm for many winters. Beyond the walls, the forest has grown indistinct beneath the snowfall. Paths and clearings disappear, softened into one continuous silence. The night feels wide and unbroken, yet distant from the cabin's warmth. Inside, the air remains still, carrying the blended scent of herbs and wood. Nothing presses inward, nothing calls outward. The separation feels complete and gentle. The healer rests her hands on the edge of the table, feeling the smooth grain beneath her fingers. This surface has known many such nights, many quiet rituals repeated without variation. Memory lives here in texture rather than thought. She remains still, allowing the familiarity of the space to settle further, deepening the calm already present. A faint sound comes from the roof as snow gathers above, then disappears again into quiet. The cabin remains unmoved, grounded and certain. Inside, the light no longer shifts. It rests where it has fallen, content to remain. The healer does not react. She allows the night to continue unfolding without comment, trusting the stillness to hold. The vessel on the table has cooled slightly now, releasing only a gentle warmth. Its surface reflects a dim trace of firelight before growing dark again. The brew has reached a steady state, no longer changing. The healer observes this without judgment, accepting that some moments arrive at balance and remain there, unaltered, until the night passes. The healer steps away from the table and allows the room to exist without her attention. The cabin no longer needs adjustment. Warmth, shadow, and silence have settled into their places. Outside, the snowfall continues its patient descent, smoothing the forest into quiet shapes. Inside, the night holds steady, undisturbed by thought or intention, complete in its simplicity. A gentle quiet fills the space between moments. No sound rises to replace it. The fire breathes softly, neither growing nor fading. The healer remains still, her presence calm and unremarkable, as though she has become part of the room itself. The ritual has shifted fully into rest, leaving nothing active behind. Snow presses lightly against the roof and windows, then slips away without leaving a mark. The forest offers no movement in return. The cabin stands separate and secure, warmed from within. The healer does not look outward. Her focus remains with the stillness, trusting it to carry the night forward without interruption. The light in the cabin dims further as the fire settles into embers. Shadows soften and blend, losing their edges. The space feels deeper now, quieter, as if it has widened without moving. Nothing signals an ending, nothing begins anew. The night continues, unbroken and calm. The healer breathes slowly, evenly, allowing the quiet to deepen around her. The vessel rests untouched. The herbs have released all they will for now. Outside, snow continues to fall. Inside, warmth remains constant. The ritual has become part of the night itself, no longer separate, no longer observed. The cabin holds the silence gently, as if aware of its weight. The healer remains where she is, no longer guiding the moment, only allowing it to rest. The fire no longer shifts. Embers glow faintly, steady and contained. Outside, the snowfall feels endless, repeating without variation. Inside, everything remains settled, complete without needing change. Time stretches quietly now, losing its shape. Minutes no longer move forward in a straight line. The night feels wide and unmeasured, held together by warmth and shadow. The healer does not mark this passing. She allows it to flow around her, trusting the stillness to carry the ritual gently into rest. A faint warmth lingers near the table where the vessel rests, though no steam rises now. The surface remains calm and dark, reflecting only a suggestion of light. The brew has settled fully, holding nothing urgent within it. The healer observes this state without judgment, content to let balance remain undisturbed. Beyond the cabin walls, the forest has disappeared into snow and shadow. Distances no longer matter. The world feels far removed, quiet and reduced to rest. Inside, the cabin remains unchanged, offering shelter without condition. The healer stays still, her presence blending completely into the night. The fire has become a soft pulse of light, barely shifting. Shadows no longer move. The room feels as though it has reached its final shape for the night. Nothing asks to be done. Nothing remains unfinished. The ritual has dissolved fully into quiet, leaving only warmth, silence, and time moving gently forward. The healer remains still as the night continues without her direction. The cabin feels settled in every corner, its warmth held gently within thick walls. Outside, snow falls with the same patience it has shown all evening. Nothing changes now, and nothing needs to. The ritual has passed beyond action, becoming part of the quiet that fills the room and stretches calmly through the forest. The air inside the cabin feels heavier with rest, as though the warmth itself has slowed. The healer's presence no longer stands apart from the space. She belongs to it completely. The vessel rests untouched, the brew finished, without announcement. Outside, the forest remains silent, accepting the night as it is, without movement or expectation. Embers glow faintly in the hearth, their light barely shifting. Shadows remain where they have settled, no longer reaching or withdrawing. The cabin feels timeless now, held between moments. The healer does not look at the fire or the table. She allows the stillness to continue on its own, trusting it to carry the night forward gently. Snow continues to fall beyond the walls, softening the world further with each layer. The forest rests beneath it, quiet and unseen. Inside, the cabin holds warmth without effort. Nothing presses inward, nothing calls outward. The night has reached a place of balance, where movement and rest no longer feel separate. The healer remains quietly within the cabin as the night deepens fully. The ritual has become indistinguishable from rest. Warmth, shadow, and silence hold their places without change. Outside, snow falls. Inside, nothing stirs. The moment does not end. It simply continues, calm and unbroken, carrying the night gently toward sleep.